Chicago Bears in a typical first half of NFC Central football.
Well, Tampa Bay with that 10-0 lead had it cut to 3 as we start this second half. You might recall the Bears won the first game earlier this year, October 6, 23-0. And look at this, John. This is a stat we wanted to show people. Show you how Peyton compares with Jim Brown. Now, Walter's about 4,000 yards off of that 12-plus, and he's right on schedule, really.
But it also shows you what a great running back Jim Brown was, because he gained that 12,000 yards in only 9 years. But even more important, look at that average, 5.2. Now, those are great running backs up there because they did it, as we said before, when everyone knew they were going to run and everyone was keying on them.
We mentioned that Peyton has started 79 straight. Brown started 118 straight games.
He was an amazing person, and every time I hear people talk about running backs, they always want to compare. I don't know why that has to be done. I mean, Jim Brown was Jim Brown. O.J. Simpson was O.J. Simpson. Walter Payton is Walter Payton. They're all great.
I'll agree with that. From the 35, your premium, the kickoff. Dave Williams back deep for Chicago, and this second half is underway. Little collision. Williams comes away with it. 20, 25-yard line, and Williams to the 30. Dave Williams brings it out to the 30, and Tony Davis, who's just an excellent special teams performer for Tampa Bay, over to make the stop. A 21-yard return by this man, was a former quarterback at the University of Colorado. Last year, he was their starting fullback when Roland Harper was out. This year, he's been returning the kickoffs and just doing an excellent job. 31 is where they mark it. And there is Walter. Walter Payton in this first half with 47 yards, a 3.6 average. His longest run, 9 yards. Roland Harper. Harper for a gain of 3. Dewey Selman making the stop for Tampa Bay. Evans with those 2 interceptions. He had 4 last week, and John McKay said, I don't know which Evans we're going to get. The guy that threw for 316 yards against Green Bay when they won 61-7, or last week. But that's some of the inconsistency, John, with the inexperience.
Right, and somewhere it's in between right now. You know, Walter Payton, one thing, he gets a lot of his yardage in the second half. Tampa Bay has done a good job in the first half. We'll see if they can keep it up the second half.
Second down and 8. Payton with a remarkable move to the 37-yard line. Johnson, Selman on the tackle. In fact, in that first game that they won, Payton ended up with 133 yards. But he had in the neighborhood of 30 yards in the first half, to just show what you were saying.
And one thing about Walter Payton, you don't want to get him mad. You know, against Detroit, they had him held at 20 or 30 yards. They put up a sign, and it said, Walter who? And Walter went back to the huddle, and he said, Vince, he said, give me the ball, would you please?
Third down and 3.
Those people.
Earl and Fisher, 2 tight ends, are in on this play. Evans hits Fisher. Fisher to the 43-yard line. That'll be a first down. Well, Vince Evans, who's starting his 10th game, has a lot of teammates that he's going against. He played with a USC. He had this to talk about.
It's going to be very exciting and interesting to play against those guys. You know, it's always a good time to be able to come back and play against the guys that you went to school with. And, you know, they're very good football players and also very good friends. So, you know, definitely I'm going to want to make a good showing.
Boy, did he get hit by Selman there?
It was Leroy Selman, and that wasn't one of his ex-friends from USC.
First down after that last pass to Fisher. Evans to Payton. Payton trying somehow to get some yardage on the play, and a flag has been thrown at the point of impact. And that's the kind of play that Coach McKay was talking about that just drives him crazy. We have a clip coming up against Chicago.
But one thing, the Tampa Bay defense really plays screens well because they're in a 3-man line. Of course, that gives them the extra linebacker. And when they can get it stopped for just a second and let the pursuit get there, then they're very tough against that pass.
The way he was running around, I'm not surprised there was a clip on this play.
Personal foul, clipping, 62. First down.
That's Dan Jiggets. Jiggets, who's played some pretty good football this year. He had to play all the entire second half in the game earlier this year against the Lions when an injury to Ted Albrecht occurred. Albrecht's really had a difficult time with the knee.
And it looks like he may be having that now because Jiggets is in at left tackle for Albrecht right now.
First down and 25 after the penalty, and Evans hit, and guess who's there? Leroy Selmon. His 9th sack. He had 3 sacks last week, and Dan Jiggets was the man who was trying to keep him out of there.
I was going to say, and guess who he just ran by? We'll see it right there at the top of the screen. Look at Selmon coming from the outside. He beat Jiggets, and what happened is Noah Jackson tried to get back there, but he didn't get back there in time. Really, Leroy Selmon on that play really beat a double team.
Selmon with his 9th sack, the 23rd of the year for Tampa Bay, considerably below last year when they had 40. Chicago came in here with a chance to set a new team record in sacks. 3 wide receivers on a second down, 35. Payton to the 25, 30. He's out to the 35-yard line. So he picked some of that back. Scott Brantley, Mike Washington over, an 18-yard pickup on the play.
What's these little moves here? Again, they wanted them. They had the 3 wide receivers in, make Tampa Bay think pass. Then they ran a draw or a delay to Walter Payton.
Well, he got hit again, didn't he? We understand that Roland Harper has a bad ankle. They're looking at that on the sideline. Already, Brian Baschnagel's having a difficult time with a back.
Right, Chicago's having some problems with Baschnagel. Ted Albrecht is out this half.
3rd down, 18 yards to go. That's Robin Earl in motion. Play action by Evans. Dave Stalls looked like he might have gotten up on that football. Dave Stalls, a former Dallas Cowboy, was a 7th-round pick. They acquired him a pair of draft picks back in August. As it concerned Neil Armstrong, talks things over with Robin Earl.
He's concerned, and Vince Evans is concerned. He says, what do I have to do? I drop back. I get pressure from my left side from Leroy Selmon. I decide to roll to the right side, away from Selmon, and Dave Stalls knocks it down.
Deep band is Danny Reese. Bob Parsons. There's Reese again, disdaining the fair catch. He's to the 27-yard line. Tackled by Chris Haynes. Paul Tabor, number 53, who snaps the ball, also down on the punt coverage. That was a 40-yard kick that time by Bob Parsons. A 4-yard return by Reese. We mentioned a while ago that Brian Baschnagel is having a difficult time with his back. Now, he was walking back in the background there, the warm-up. We'll check him out in a little bit. Tampa Bay with a 10-7 lead. They have the ball now at the 27-yard line. Jerry Eckwood, and Eckwood to the 30. Otis Wilson, Lenny Walderscheid combining on the stop. Now Baschnagel with the back. We understand that Albrecht, who was out of there on the last series for Chicago, has an ankle that's bothering him. I think I incorrectly told you Roland Harper, but it is Albrecht that in fact has the ankle difficulty. 2nd down and 7. The Bucs, by the way, have led 10-0 in 3 of the past 4 games and lost all 3. That's what they had early in this game, 10-0. Now the 10-7 lead. Chicago, did they get back? Eckwood, 35-40. Eckwood being chased by Winford Gaines. Doug Plank eventually got there, but Jerry Eckwood showing the excellent outside speed. Moves the ball all the way inside the 35-yard line of Chicago.
We'll see it again here. Doug Williams is doing a good job of mixing up the snap count here. He's not always going on the same thing. He's getting the Bear defense out of rhythm. They really weren't set, and then Eckwood was able to get to the outside, through, and up for a big gain. That
gain of 32 yards is almost the longest run of the year. The longest run that Tampa Bay has had from the line of scrimmage this year was 39 yards. That first down goes to the 38-yard line. Eckwood again. Alan Page with the tackle. Ball at the 35. Eckwood may be getting out of that doghouse.
He looks like it now. You know, the longest run they had up until today's game was a quarterback sneak, a silent quarterback sneak by Doug Williams.
Well, there was some speculation as whether Tampa Bay could run this football against Chicago. Chicago coming in here 6th against the rush. From the 35, 2nd down and 7. Kevin House in motion. Eckwood again. Eckwood hit by Al Harris to the 34. Well, we asked Doug Williams if they could run against the Chicago defense.
Well, you really got to block them first. If you can block them, you can do anything against them, but that's the most important thing, is to be able to block them.
No secret there.
Nope, it all boils down to the play in the trenches. You know, we've always said that, you know, if we had to build a team, I would always want to start building a team with an offensive line.
You've always stuck to that. Is that because you were a lineman?
I understand them.
Tony Davis is the injured player. We'll be back in a moment. Gary Bender with John Madden. We have 9 minutes, 20 seconds to go in this third quarter. 3rd down and 6 for Tampa Bay at the Chicago 34. The Buccaneers with a 3-point lead. Flag on the play. Williams. Jerry Eckwood. Eckwood inside the 30 to the 29. That's 2 yards short of the first down, but a penalty flag. Eckwood has really been worked on this drive. After that long run, they came right back and went to him again. He was one of the outstanding high school players when he was a senior out of the state of Arkansas. He and Tony Dorsett that year were listed as the 2 best high school players. But Eckwood had a lot of injuries and really didn't live up to all the promise. And he has had some injuries since coming to Tampa Bay.
82 defense, 82 offside, 3rd down.
That's Mr. Page again.
That's what they've been trying to do, and you know, they've been trying to do it by changing the count up. Alan Page was saying that really doesn't bother him as much as any movement by the quarterback, his body or his head. And I bet that's what he's telling the official, that he wasn't offside. Maybe the quarterback's moving.
It brings up a 3rd down, a yard to go after the 5-yard penalty. Williams to Eckwood. And I don't believe he got it because Walderscheid was there. Now, John, there's a case where you run a long ways before you headed up the field on a short yardage play.
And that's why I always like the short yardage plays. It would go right up the middle. Get right into it and get it done. You know, because you have to run a long ways. You have to run 20 yards before you can turn the ball up.
Walderscheid playing in place of the injured Gary Fensick. And it brings up 4th down and still a yard to go.
That's what John McKay is saying on that phone. He said, don't we have a better play than that where we can go straight ahead and not sideways? Maybe let's give it to Doug Williams.
Tony Davis now in and firing off. The Chicago Bears look like Hartenstein. Let's go back and pick it up.
We'll be able to see this. I don't know what is causing all this Bear movement, but Hartenstein sure jumped. And look at the pointing. You know, I did it. I'm sorry. He did it.
An accusing finger every direction.
Maybe there was some offensive movement. That's what
I think
was.
Doug Williams may have moved on this play. That's what Williams is arguing. It looked like he'd moved his leg, John. And
well, you know, on the play before,
Number 12 offense, 4th down.
Alan Page was claiming that Williams did that the play before. Did you see him complain? Then he was called for it on the next play.
So it all evens up.
Williams is saying, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything.
You know, Page is a lawyer. I think he can plead his case pretty well.
I'll tell you, he sure did. The effect was very well.
Tom Blanchard from the 50 to kick. There is Walderscheid. Blanchard trying to get the corner with it, and he did. That's the 5-yard line. Tom Blanchard, the veteran, who they picked up from the New Orleans Saints. A kick of 33 yards, beautifully placed. And now Chicago again has to start deep in their own territory at the 7. Holiday season that's coming up. Do you have your shopping all done?
Done. I haven't even started it yet.
You're in trouble.
Although I did some shopping here in Tampa. I want to tell you about that later.
First down at the 7-yard line. Evans to Payton. Payton was 70 yards before that carry. Out to the 15-yard line. Payton now needs inside 50 yards to go to pass Joe Perry and to become the 5th all-time leading rusher in the NFL.
They just hand it to him. We see the guard pull Noah Jackson out there. He gets a good block to him. You know, the thing that impressed me about Walter Payton is when he talks about records and himself, he always says we. He always includes his offensive line. He says, well, we're happy that we're here. We want to do this. We'll be happy if we can do that. It's always we, and a true we.
On the 15, 2nd down and 2. This time it's Matt Suey, and the Penn State rookie has a first down to the 25. Well, the linemen really want to give Payton his 5th straight rushing title. Noah Jackson said we can really salvage something from this year. And Noah Jackson having maybe his best year. Jackson this year has kept his weight at a very lean 265 pounds. He got married, and his wife has watched his diet.
Well, he's still a pretty big guy. You know, we were talking on the elevator today, and he and I filled that elevator up pretty good.
I kept saying tilt. I don't know what that meant.
Well, it wouldn't down. It wouldn't go up.
From the 25, first down. Chicago getting some operating room. Payton. And Payton comes out to just across the 30-yard line. He's approaching that 100-yard day. He's had 7 thus far. Ted Albrecht is not in there. Dan Jiggett's still playing that left tackle spot. Let's watch it.
Of course, we had that. See, they start off with a double team. Look at the job they do. The Jiggett's and Robin Earl, they get them started, but that just proves that if you're going to block Leroy Selman, you have to stay with him.
Jiggett's from Harvard. You had a lot of players on that Oakland Raider team from the Ivy League, didn't you, Harvard?
We had Harvards of different, you know, like the Harvard of the South, Miami, the Harvard of the West, USC.
2nd down 5. Evans to Ricky Watts, and that's a first down. Ricky Watts, they wanted him to return punts this year. He got hurt early in the year, and they lost that dimension to their attack.
Again, he's looking right out here to Watts now. This is a plan, just a quick out pattern. He just wants to get up there for a first down. He had no one else downfield, and of course he established what he wanted there.
Evans showing very good poise on this drive. Remember now, it started from the 7. Now out to the 37, a first down, 6 minutes remaining in this 3rd quarter.
The poise is good, but they have to start getting some points.
They trail by 3. That's Suey trying to get up for that one. This year, the Bears have had, as you know, different quarterbacks playing, and we asked Walter Payton what it's like playing with different quarterbacks.
Doesn't matter who's in there playing quarterback to a certain extent, because if the other 10 guys don't perform up to their expectation of their ability, then it doesn't matter. You could have Joe Namath in there, Kenny Stabler, or Terry Bradshaw. If he doesn't get the other support and help from the other 10 players, it's not going to help.
He sounds like a coach.
I'm sure that Joe Namath, Kenny Stabler, and Terry Bradshaw would have loved to have had Walter Payton.
2nd down 10. 5 defensive backs in. Evans gets rid of it to Suey. Suey out to the 45, and that'll be a first down, and what an ad-lib effort that was. Evans again showing how strong he is. Getting rid of the ball. I think Tampa Bay thought that he was down in the backfield.
I think he may have been down. The whistle may have blown on it. They were complaining about it right there, but he wasn't down. I think what the Tampa Bay, you know, they put in that new rule for quarterback protection, that if the quarterback is in the grasp, and look at him argue out there, if the quarterback is in the grasp of a defensive lineman, that they should blow the whistle. Watch it.
Dave Stahl's coming in there a little bit late, but he was still scrambling and trying to get away.
That's right, and there was no whistle on the play, and that's what the Tampa Bay players were complaining about, that there should have been a whistle.
Instead, it's a completion and a first down to Suey to the 47-yard line. Crowd not very happy right now. They are fired up as Walter Payton advances the ball to the 45-yard line, and Payton is starting to pile up that yardage that you talked about that he does so often in the second half.
You know, there's a reason for that. One, he plays well and strong when he gets a little tired, but you know, when a defense in the second half, those big defensive linemen and the big linebackers, when they start to get a little tired, they're just a step slower, and then some things that didn't go in the first half will go in the second half.
He has 90 yards, now needs 32 to pass Joe Perry. Second down, 2. This time, good reaction. The ball is loose, but it's been blown dead. Aaron Brown reacted very well on Roland Harper.
I'll tell you, we were talking about Walter Payton and his running, but that run really didn't go a long way by Roland Harper, but you should have seen the block that Walter Payton put on. You know, that's the impressive thing, is he'll run with it when they give it to him. He'll block when they give it to the other running back, and then he'll go out and catch a few if you want him to do that.
That's the unselfish backs. We had that last week with Atlanta, with Andrews and Kane. You're seeing more and more of that. You demanded a blocking back, too, that would also carry the ball.
I didn't know how to coach a fancy one.
Third down, a yard to go. Check that. Harper, Roland Harper, has a first down to the 40-yard line. Selman again on the tackle.
And did you see the player that was standing over Harper and giving the big sign? That was Noah Jackson. Yeah, I really like that type of play. You know, the excitable type play when you're playing, and when something good happens, you get excited about it. It's a fun game. No, it's fun. They should get out there and have fun and love to play.
I'm surprised that you're enthusiastic about that. Walter Payton on a first down, and nothing develops this time. Bill Kohler is in there. We didn't expect to see Kohler play, as he has a groin injury. And he read that one well, and nothing went on the play. In fact, they lost a couple of yards.
And it was pursued. It's a good job in the middle there by Dave Logan. He doesn't give anything. See, he squeezes that play down so that there's no cutback for Walter Payton. That's really one of the big responsibilities that a nose tackle has.
Look at that first down statistic.
Yeah, but again, you have to get some points up there. 7 points after you played for 3 or 4 hours, that's not enough.
Second down and 12. Earl and Fisher both in on this play. 5 defensive backs for Tampa Bay. Evans trying to come up with it. James Scott at the 30-yard line. Cedric Brown defending for Tampa Bay.
We'll see James Scott again. This was a 2 tight end, 2 wide receiver. He runs a pretty good pattern. It's a hook. You try and push the defender deep like you're going deep, and then stop and come back. He ran a good pattern.
Scott had a broken nose and giving him some difficulty. Here's your third down conversions. 8 of 12. That's pretty impressive, too, but again, only 7 points. 3 wide receivers on third down and 12. A flag on the play. A ball was dropped. Haynes had it at the 30-yard line. That would have been enough for the first down. But we had a penalty flag. Norris Thomas defending.
I have a penalty. It'll probably be against the Bears, but that's one thing there. You know, he caught the ball, tried to catch it too close to his body. We always want the receivers to catch the ball with their hands out in front. Now, we'll watch it again. When you catch the ball or try and catch it too close to your body, it will hit your shoulder pads and bounce out. Now, watch this pass here. This is really a good throw.
You just need a little more stickum.
No. You see, even the stickum wouldn't help there, because stickum will help if your hands are out in front of you. But if they're in here close to your body, when the first thing the ball hits is the shoulder pads, it will always bounce out.
Bob Parsons. And Chicago is down there. They're going to let it roll, and they're going to down it at the 3-yard line. Chris Haynes. Haynes down there after a 40-yard kick. And so after Chicago has started so deep so often, this time it's Tampa Bay that's deep in their own end of the field. The uniforms that the Honey Bears have on.
I didn't know what their old uniforms looked like. I have no idea.
First down now from the 2. 10-7, Tampa Bay. And Williams back as far as he can go. That's Kevin House. Harry Schmidt defending on the play. Nothing conservative about that play.
Well, I'll tell you, he dropped back there out of the end zone and let her go. You know, that's a very dangerous area to pass from. Of course, if you get tackled there, it's a safety. But also, if you have an offensive penalty in the end zone, it's an automatic safety.
So to bring up 2nd and 10. Hey, you said you'd already done some Christmas shopping here. What was that all about?
Well, what I did is I went shopping to a shopping mall here, and all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers jerseys and T-shirts were all half price.
Well, the kids know what they're getting for Christmas. 2nd and 10. Fumble. Walderscheid has it for Chicago. Gary Eckwood, who's been plagued with fumble difficulties. Chicago has it. They have it at the 3-yard line as Walderscheid comes out of there with it.
We're going to see again, you know, coming out is like goal line. You have to get movement. See, they allow penetration right here, and when he saw that penetration where there was no hole, he started to shift his feet. As he did that, the ball came out. Look at it bounce around there. Walderscheid caught that with one hand. Did you see that? The ball flew out there. He stuck out his right hand and caught that.
Boy, you feel for Eckwood. When you start fumbling, it's got to be on your mind. That's his 5th fumble of the year and comes in a bad position at the 3-yard line.
There's not a good position for a fumble.
1st and goal. Chicago now trying to take the lead. Roland Harper. And that may have gotten a yard at the most. This is where Tampa Bay is so tough. Bruce Radford is in there now, a big 260-pounder from Grambling.
I would think if they were going to run here that they would run it to Walter Payton and use Harper to lead. That was a counter play where he took a step to his left and went into the right without a lead block, and that's really not the type of play that you want to run on a goal line.
They're just outside the 2. 2nd and goal. Walter Payton, and he's going to be short. He took off from about the 3-yard line area, and he traveled quite a ways, but he just had too far to go as he catapulted over the middle.
Let's watch it again here. Now, in the goal line, everyone wants to stay low. Watch the Bear offense here. They want to stay low, keep their feet moving. The defense wants to get low underneath them. Look at that, 21 bodies right there in the goal line.
You like that?
Goal line breeds intensity.
Cedric Brown was the man who collided with him in midair. 3rd and goal, and you see where the ball is. Tampa Bay with a 10-7 lead. Evans, and Vince Evans takes it in for the touchdown. Vince Evans, and that is very difficult to stop. With that big forward wall of Dan Neal, who's having his best year ever, along with Jackson and Sorey.
Right, and they did get some movement in there, though. You see, Gary, it doesn't take an awful lot for a quarterback sneak, but you can't allow penetration. And when you have a big quarterback the size of a Vince Evans, it just takes a little, and he had it for a touchdown.
And so, for the first time in this game, Chicago has a lead, 13-10.
Vince Evans has his 8th touchdown rushing.
And over 300 yards for the year. Eisnagel is in despite that bad back, holding for Bob Thomas. Thomas hits it, and it's a 14-10 lead. Chicago with the advantage. We have 1 minute and 34 seconds left to be played in quarter number 3. Chicago has taken the lead, 14-10. Bob Thomas to kick off. Gary Davis back for Tampa Bay. The winner today moves into 3rd place. Thomas, Davis from the 10. Davis to the 31-yard line. Tackle made by Bruce Heron, a backup linebacker. Well, the final day of the regular season of play as it starts with the NFL today. Green Bay, Detroit, who just missed making the playoffs. Houston, boy, they've got to win that game against Minnesota. Washington, St. Louis. It's a doubleheader as we have Atlanta, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia and Dallas. They're battling for that NFC Eastern Division crown.
Those are the ones we'll be watching very closely to determine where we're going for the wild card.
That's right. Great finish to this 1980 regular season. Williams up to Eckwood. Eckwood out to the 35-yard line. And that was Otis Wilson again, able to run him out of bounds.
You know, Ricky Bell is out. That's why Eckwood is playing so much now. Ricky Bell hurt his knee, but this is a smart thing. Eckwood fumbled on the last play, gave Chicago a touchdown. And now Doug Williams knows that, so he comes back, he gives him the ball right back, lets him get that out of his system, and he may come through and make a big play yet in this game.
From the 34, second down and 7. Eckwood again. Eckwood to the 40-yard line and is very close to the first down. Alan Page and Terry Schmidt. Jimmy Giles is a Pro Bowler at tight end. Let's see what kind of a blocker he is.
I know. You know, the thing, he hasn't caught a pass yet in this game. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that they'll have to do is get the ball to Giles as a receiver. But he was a pretty good blocker on that play. And that was one of the reasons that play went.
He stuck with him all the way. That was a first down just across the 40-yard line. Giles last year caught 40 passes, and coming into today he had 32. But he has gotten a lot of the double team coverage. A young man who came over in that trade that eventually sent Earl Campbell to the Houston Oilers.
Right, and he's been conspicuous by his absence in the passing game thus far.
First down with 44 seconds to go in this third quarter. Flag as they stop the play. Gene Barth ascertaining what's going on. And we're going to have a timeout call. Doug Williams had the ball snapped, and so with 41 seconds in the third quarter, what this flag's all about. Now they're stepping it off.
I don't think that was a timeout. It must have been too much time.
15-yard penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct, bench penalty.
A bench penalty.
Oh, none of the above. There must have been a little action from the bench over there. Now, that's one thing you know, when an offensive lineman holds, they tell who it is. They say holding number 75, number 78. When it goes against the bench, they don't say who the culprit is.
Did you ever get one of those?
One in my life, that's all.
First down, 25 after the 15-yarder. Gordon Jones going to the 35. So they get some of it back. Terry Schmidt making the tackle. Well, the bench, Doug, boy, he's a competitor.
I know, and he's saying, you know, it's tough enough out here without getting penalties from the bench. Look at the stunts here. They do a good job of picking him up. He has to get the ball underneath.
We have a man shaken up for Tampa Bay, Ray Snell, their #1 draft pick out of Wisconsin, who was his 7th start today. Snell was in there after, actually, they lost Greg Roberts early in the year, an excellent second-year guard. Then they had Gene Sanders and now Ray Snell, and Snell inside the 20-yard line.
That was one thing that they were talking about, that they really haven't been able to run the ball, and John McKay said it starts on your offensive line. As a matter of fact, he said today, if we're going to win this game today, our offensive line has to win it for us.
Well, we were talking about that Dallas game along with Philadelphia. Now, what has to happen for Dallas to capture the division title? They have to beat Philadelphia by 25 or more points.
That's right. And then the other thing that they're going for is they have to just plain beat them in order to have the home field in the wild card. If they lose to Philadelphia and if Los Angeles wins, then the wild card game would be in Los Angeles with Dallas and Los Angeles. And I'm sure after Monday night, that's one thing that Dallas doesn't want to do. They don't want to have to wear those blue jerseys and go back to Anaheim.
You talk about personalities of teams. You were talking about your silver and black. You like to wear your black jerseys. They like to wear their white jerseys.
They sure do.
Now, Minnesota, they clinched that Central Division crown of that miraculous last play against Cleveland. And out west, of course, now what if Atlanta would win against Los Angeles tomorrow, that means they would get the home field advantage all the way through the playoffs.
All the way through as long as they win. Of course, they have to be there.
Well, Ray Snell going off. You hate to see that.
You sure do. It looks like it's his left knee.
This guy they have great hopes for. He made the UPI All-Rookie team that was just released this week. The #1 draft pick. Became a starter in the 9th game. They felt he was the best college lineman to come out of the draft.
He's a good one.
Second down. 15 yards to go. Coming in. The pressure as Williams pumps once. Gets it off to Obradovic. Obradovic all the way inside the 45, and Otis Wilson with a tackle. Jim Obradovic, a guy who is really one of the favorites on this team of John McKay, has a 35-yard gain.
This is about a third thought here for Doug Williams. Again, this is where the strength comes in of a quarterback. Look, he flags the ball there. One bounces off him. Another one, he still gets the ball off to Obradovic, who is a tight end, but he's just an outlet. He just checked the block out to the side.
And that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Chicago 14, Tampa Bay 10. We now pause for a word from your local station. Our director, Bob Fishman, and looking at a replay, was able to pick up this. Alan Page almost got Doug Williams, but he bounced off of it.
Watch how strong Williams is there. Page beats Yarno on the line of scrimmage, gets back there, has him stripped. Williams still holds the ball, gets it off for a big play. It was a first down. In fact, that got that 15-yard penalty back for him.
Which, by the way, we understand the bench penalty was on assistant coach Tom Bass. He is the guilty party. From the 41-yard line after that 35-yard gain. Tampa Bay, we start the fourth quarter, a busted play. And Williams is going to be gobbled up in a hurry. Otis Wilson, you have a whole quarter timeout to get your play right, and you come out and everybody goes the wrong direction.
Well, it was just a little late. Doug Williams did the right thing, though. It just didn't work. When you miss a handoff, you always teach your quarterback to go right in behind the back that you missed the handoff to, and then you have some blocking and some lead there. He did that, but that theory didn't work.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. Giles, Obradovic in there. The only running back is Tony Davis, number 27. Williams, and wide open was Kevin House. Terry Schmidt couldn't stay with this rookie, and it's a first down to the 25-yard line. That one was good for a 20-yard gain.
Terry Schmidt wasn't very close on this. What the Bucs are doing now, they're in 2 tight ends, only one back in the backfield so that they can shore up their protection. Williams just comes back, hits the out or short corner, and Schmidt just wasn't close. I think he probably has too much respect for the speed of Kevin House.
Well, Terry Schmidt, in the words of Neil Armstrong, is kind of an overachiever, but he's very smart, a very cagey football player, but he's going against some raw talent in Kevin House. From the 25, first down. Jerry Eckwood protecting that football to the 21-yard line. Both arms wrapped around it. Lenny Walderscheid eventually made the tackle for Chicago. 14-10. The Bears with the lead, but Tampa Bay on the move. There's that forward wall. Hartenstein, one of the real underrated football players. You know, he is such a weightlifter. They tell us he lifts 6 tons a day.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
For anyone.
Second down and 6, and end around, reverse to Gordon Jones. And Al Harris read it. Al Harris, who along with Dan Hampton were the first-round draft picks a year ago for Chicago. Harris made the stop. Neil Armstrong says we may have to utilize this guy more, and here's a good example of why.
Well, he's in there now as a 5 defensive lineman, and he was the end man. They started, the linebackers pursued. Harris knows that when the ball goes away, you have to wait and check that backside, which he did. Now, what I can't understand, and I hate to say this after a play, but, you know, on the play before that, they had Kevin House man-to-man out there on Terry Schmidt. You know, just these solid, normal things aren't bad.
If it works, go back to it, huh? 3 wide receivers. They lost 10 yards on that play. Third down and 16. Jerry Eckwood to the 15, to the 10, Eckwood to the 6. Jerry Eckwood, who had that fumble earlier, coming back now with a 25-yard gain to the 6-yard line. First and goal, Tampa Bay.
Watch this again. It was a blitz. They had the safeties blitzing up the middle. They really brought both safeties. They didn't have anyone to cover Eckwood. The idea is that he won't get the ball off, but when you have a quarterback like Doug Williams, he can and will get the ball off, and there was no one there to cover him. That's, you live with the blitz, you die with the blitz. The all-out blitz I'm talking about. They brought both safeties, Plank and Walderscheid.
We've seen more blitzing this year, though, in how many years?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest change in the National Football League today is the number of blitzes.
First and goal at the 6-yard line. Tampa Bay trying to retake the lead. Eckwood fumbled the ball. Doug Williams got on it. That's just amazing. Eckwood with both hands around the ball, both arms around the ball, still lost it. He must be psyched out at this particular time.
I'll tell you, that'll tend to happen to you, and I would think that I would give the ball down here on the goal line, either going in or coming out to a different back, and all due respect to Eckwood.
John, what can you do about something like that if a guy starts fumbling? Is it a psychological thing more than anything else?
Somewhat. You know, it's something that, you know, you really can't talk about. You can't say don't fumble. Heck, he doesn't want to fumble.
Second down. And goal just outside the 5. Williams looking. Tended for Gordon Jones. Allen Ellis heading back clear into the very extreme corner of that end zone. Now, Williams complaining about something. I think he thought maybe Jones was interfered with, but he's over there now. Look at this guy. Is he excited?
I think
another one called.
What he's complaining about is the bump rule that the ball is on the 5-yard line and that corner can only bump for the first 5 yards. After the end zone, he can't touch him anymore.
You see Gary Campbell running in as the Bears make some last-minute defensive changes. Big third down. Third and goal. Williams. Pressure from Hartenstein. He gets away. Broken up. Doug Plank was there. Also, Allen Ellis as Gordon Jones, the intended receiver, but there's a flag.
And I'm sure that was a holding penalty.
That's right. You called that one. I know you know where those flags come from and what they mean.
Where they come from. Let's see if we can pick it out in here, though. You see, Williams, he had 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. He was trying to get into the end zone. I don't see it there. That looks pretty good. Don't see anything there. It may have come late here. You know, it's in this area right now, and we don't see it. Let's look at it again, and we'll check these officials out. Okay, now right there.
You always have, anyway.
I don't know. It could be Wilson on Osborne there. I don't know. That looks pretty clean to me.
Number 50 offense. Still third down.
That's who it was, Wilson.
That's the one that I just said looked pretty good to me.
Well, you've never known what these officials have liked anyway. Why start agreeing now with them?
There is one rule that if the arm gets outside the plane of the defensive man's body, then that's a penalty, and I'm sure that's what he called.
Third down, 15. Third and goal from that area. Rick Burns is now checked in along with Tony Davis in the backfield. Hartenstein putting a pretty good rush on. He gets it off. That's Burns who just checked in. And it's inside the 9. It'll bring up 4th down. Rick Burns stopped by Gary Campbell.
You see it again here. Doug Williams, he really wanted to get the ball deeper. He was looking outside. There was nothing there, so he had to come back off to Burns, and then he'll settle for a field goal.
Burns, their 3rd-round draft pick of a year ago, and Garo Yepremian will come in. This will be a 27-yard field goal attempt.
Garo says this is a great place to kick. He loved Tampa and Miami.
That's a bad snap, though. And did he get it? He did. What a job by Tom Blanchard. That ball was not snapped well. He had the quick hands. He got it down. And Garo Yepremian has kicked 2 field goals in this game. The Bucs now trail by 1.
Well, they did, and they had a lot of help from a holding penalty.
There's Dave Williams standing at the 6-yard line. Yepremian with 2 27-yard field goals. Williams to the 25. Knocked knocked out of bounds at 32. Andy Hawkins, whose brother Mike Hawkins is a starting linebacker for the New England Patriots, over to make the tackle. Hawkins was one of those guys that for some reason or another, the computer kept saying he was about 5'11", and so John McKay sent somebody down to, in fact, find out how tall he is. He's 6'2". They then picked him up, and they're very happy with him. The 10th round draft pick.
It's a problem with those computers. They make mistakes sometimes too.
On the 31, first down. 10:29 left in this game. A 1-point lead for Chicago. Walter Payton. Payton to the 35. Pick up a 4. Aaron Brown and Andy Hawkins, the man we were just talking about a while ago. And on the stop, you know, in a couple of games in this series, they played 6 times. Chicago shut out Tampa Bay twice. Now they're looking for their first sweep of a seasonal series after winning earlier this year 23-0. Payton now has 93 yards on 21 carries. Very close to his 8th 100-yard day of the season. Payton again, and Dave Logan with the tackle. That's going to bring up a 3rd down. Still 4 yards to go.
You know, both of these teams, Gary, that were up in the standings last year in the playoffs are looking at Atlanta as the model. You know, they knew that the Atlanta Falcons were in the playoffs 2 years ago. Last year they had a down year. Then they came back this year very strong. And both of them have said that they want to do what Atlanta did.
Logan took himself out of the ball game. And coming in with Bruce Radford, Logan looked like he may have hurt his arm. Evans broken up. Evans going to try it again. I don't believe this play.
And there's flags all over the place. They're saying that he can't do that. That reminds me of Gerald Yepremian's play that he did during the Super Bowl. He said they were triple teamed on that play, so they gave him triple coverage. But after he throws it once and get it back, he can't
Illegal
throw it again.
forward pass. Second forward pass is illegal. Loss of down only. No distance penalty. 4th down.
Right. Well, see, there's only one forward pass. You can have a lateral and a forward pass, like a flea flicker type thing, but you can only have one forward pass per play. See, there's one, bounce back, then he picks it up, and he tries it again. You know, that's just out of instinct. That's 2. The second one, they say, nope, can't do that.
Cedric Brown was the man who batted the ball down, or should say up in the air, and Evans caught it. Parsons to kick on 4th down. Another flag. Beautiful kick. Danny Reese from the 20. And Reese at the 24-yard line. But a penalty flag back at the 30-yard line. Down there was Paul Tabor. Reese doesn't want to get that fair catch. That's going against Chicago.
I wonder if they'll take the penalty or not, because it'll go against Chicago. As we look at David Logan there, he looks like he's telling someone what happened to him.
Well, he took himself out, and you can see it's either the hand or the right arm. Looks like maybe the hand. Second-year man out of Pittsburgh.
Now, I'm sure the Bears left early.
Left end. 4th down.
So they're going to kick again. This time inside the 20-yard line after the 5-yard penalty. Again, it's Reese back. Parsons ready to kick it.
You think Danny Reese likes this? Yes, it already did it once.
He sure likes to run him. He's going to get another chance at one at the 25. However, there's another penalty on the play as Reese at the 29. This time, the penalty flag's at the 41-yard line. We're going to do this until they get it right.
Good practice. You know, they always say that you have to practice your special teams, and we're doing it right now. Yeah, that's what John McKay's saying. What's going on here?
I don't think he's too happy about it all.
I'm saying he's ready to go to the golf course with that hat and that outfit on.
Oh, personal foul.
Now that'll be against Tampa Bay, and that'll give the ball back to Chicago. You Yeah, that's one of the things that you always worry about when you decline a penalty. But if the penalty's against you on the next one, they get the ball back. Now, that's going to be a roughness penalty, 15 yards. That'll be enough for a Chicago first down.
And comes at the 8:39 mark. Gene Barth will indicate who it's on.
Whoever it's on or whatever it is, it's a big, big penalty.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 41, first down.
That's Norris Thomas. So the first down now, the ball marked at the 47. Neil Armstrong, I think he'll take that. There's the penalty yardage in this game. A lot of them coming now in the last 5 to 6 minutes. Vince Evans, this team with a 1-point lead. Ricky Watts in motion. Walter Payton. And Payton this time just gets back to the line of scrimmage. Curtis Jordan coming up from the left cornerback spot. Aaron Brown. Boy, we've called Brown's name a lot. And it's going to bring up second down, virtually 10 yards to go.
You know, getting back to that play, Gary, that's one of the things that you always worry about. Once you get the punt and you have the ball in the beyond the 20-yard line, you hate to give it back to them again for any reason, because that's one of the things that can happen. You can have a penalty, you can have a fumble and not get the ball. At least on the 20, you know it's your ball.
Harper, Payton the running back. Evans on 2nd and 9. I guess Fisher was the intended receiver at the 40, but he wasn't even close to it. Further up the field, Cedric Brown was trying to come up with the interception, and that's going to bring up a third down.
I think the closest receiver to the ball was in the orange jersey, and that was Cedric Brown. As we watch here, see, Evans is looking to the outside. I think he may have been anticipating Fisher to hook up there. He didn't hook, and of course the ball went to no one.
Fisher coming off. Third down conversions now. Chicago 9 of 14. 5 defensive backs are in for Tampa Bay. 3 wide receivers for Chicago. Third down 9. What a try by Scott. James Scott trying to locate the football. Could not, as Evans with just the flick of a wrist threw that ball 55, 60 yards in the air.
Oh, is he strong? And we'll watch that one again. Now, what Scott did here is he has double coverage. See, he has a man on him, and that's Norris Thomas on him on the line. He just outruns the coverage. See, up there in the top. See, he has a double inside, outside. That was Curtis Brown, and he just outran him.
Boy, he made him look slow, didn't he? The way he went by him.
He just ran right by Mike Washington and Cedric Brown.
Fourth down, Parsons to kick again. He's getting some work. Reese is going to let this one hit, and it's going to make it in for the touchback. That's a 52-yard kick by Bob Parsons. And at the 7:34 mark of this fourth quarter, the ball will be at the 20-yard line, and Tampa Bay is a doubleheader of football action. The final day of the regular season of play. The NFL today, Packers, Detroit, Minnesota, Houston, Washington, St. Louis, and then those big games in that NFC Eastern Division. Atlanta, Los Angeles, the Eagles against the Cowboys. What a finish for this 1980 regular season.
Looking forward to watching those myself.
From the 20-yard line after that 52-yard kick, Tampa Bay trailing by 1, 14-13. Doug Williams off to Rick Burns, and Gary Soupy Campbell making the tackle at 24-yard line. We mentioned Rick Bell has been hurt. Eckwood's been having some fumble difficulties. Now Rick Burns is in there. They still have Gary Davis that can play that tailback spot. Second down and 6. The rushing statistics was Walter Payton with most of that. Eckwood now, we have been told, is out of the game with a shoulder separation.
That's what really hurts a team, when you get injuries at the same position.
On a 2nd and 6. Williams. That is House again. House fumbles the ball. Doug Plank comes up with it. And Chicago will head up the other way. Kevin House, after making another fine catch, lost the football. Let's see how he got away from it.
That is unbelievable, and it's the type of season that it has been really for both of these teams. You talk about strength of arm. Look at this ball that Doug Williams throws. Kevin House, again, just outruns the secondary. He runs right past Terry Schmidt. He has a big one. He's going for it. You see what Schmidt did? Just as he went to tackle, he brought his right arm in there and stripped the ball out of House's hands.
That's what Neil Armstrong said. That Terry Schmidt is a smart football player, and it was evidenced right there. 61-yard completion. Schmidt strips the ball.
Watch the end of it right there. You see the right arm come in, and look who's there. Doug Plank. You know, since he had that 15-yard penalty, we hadn't heard much from Doug Plank until right now.
I think your comment was very apropos. It just kind of summed up some of the frustrations of Tampa Bay to make a fine completion and have the ball go the other way. From the 20-yard line. 6 minutes, 40 seconds left in this game. Earl and Fisher, both tight ends, are in. That's Earl in motion. Walter Payton. 25, 30, out to the 40. And Walter Payton with that run may have put the lid on the NFC rushing title. Mark Cotney eventually knocked him out of bounds.
And he's getting very close to Joe Perry's record also, but again, it's a pitch play. It's a famous thing that they do, the I formation, pitch out to him. He gets out around the corner. Look him put that burst on right there, up the field. They'll move out of bounds.
There he is, 118 yards. And for the year now, he has 8 100-yard days, 42 of them in his career, and he needs 4 yards now to pass Joe Perry. Become the 5th all-time rusher. Only 4. First down from the 42. This is Roland Harper. And Chicago, after that scare of a while ago, now just running the ball right at Tampa Bay. David Logan, Aaron Brown again on the tackle. Here's a guy in 1978 gained 992 yards, and now Dave Lewis has been shaken up. This is the man that John McKay feels the finest linebacker potentially he ever had at USC, and of course he's come into the pro ranks and done quite a job there. We have a timeout. 6:15 left to go in this final game of the regular season. The Bears by 1. Gary Bender with John Madden. We have 6:10 left in this football game. 2nd down and 4 now for the Chicago Bears. And some of the fans, a lot of people coming down from Chicago to get away from that cold weather.
They're having a good time wherever they are. They're enjoying this. They're all staying. Good crowd.
Earl and Fisher both in. That's Fisher in motion. Walter Payton in across the 50 to 49, but another penalty flag. Selman on the stop. They had 4 men up front that time. Kohler, Stalls, Logan, and Leroy Selman. An isolated look at number 63.
Tell you one thing about him, he stays in there. He's fighting this whole game, and we talked about this. Look at how he comes from the outside and makes a play. If you're going to run the ball any place, whether it's at Leroy Selman or away from him, you have to block him.
Major penalty now against Chicago.
Illegal crackback. Number 80 offense. Still 2nd down.
What the rule on that is you can crack back, but that means a wide receiver coming in and blocking a linebacker. He can do that, but if he does it, it has to be above the waist. Illegal means that he came in and he blocked below the waist.
That is Ricky Watts. 3 wide receivers. David Lewis, by the way, has come back in at linebacker for Tampa Bay, and that's good. 2nd down and 18. Walter Payton. Leroy Selman is there. 2 Pro Bowlers matching their skills against each other, and Selman so strong, able to wrestle Payton down.
Well, that's the way they meet. It looked like it was face mask to face mask, but you really can't fool Leroy Selman. It's a draw play. They try and get him on a pass rush. Watch that. He just wraps him up. Walter Payton, you're going nowhere.
Very few people could tackle Walter Payton that way.
Well, Leroy Selman is like very few people. You know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers measure the leg strength of their players. And you know who has the strongest leg in the team?
Leroy Selman.
His right leg.
His right leg, not his left leg. 3rd down, 15. Payton this time going one-on-one against Andy Hawkins. picks up very little yardage. On that previous play that Salmon made the stop on Peyton, Peyton tied Joe Perry, the 5th on the all-time rushing list, as Peyton now has 26 carries, 122 yards. There's Tom Bass. That's the guy that got the bench penalty against him. You know, they have the largest, now I'm not talking in terms of numbers, but John McKay has the largest assistant coaching staff I've ever seen. They are big. They're huge guys. Bass and Abe Gibran, to name a couple.
That's what they used to say about me as a head coach, the largest head coach.
Bob Parsons, Danny Reese. There's another flag, and every time it seems that Chicago punts the ball, there's a penalty flag. Every time it's been something a little bit different.
I bet you if it's against Chicago, I would bet that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will not take the penalty. They'll say, let's keep the play.
There's Dave Lewis.
Look, he's saying no. He said, let's turn this one down. Bad things happen when we take it.
Might be a coach someday.
On the kick, penalty refused.
Yeah.
First down.
Ineligible man down. 35-yard kick. As you mentioned, Tampa Bay does refuse a penalty with 4:42. So now with a 1-point lead. Tampa Bay, this getting down time-wise, but they got to make it happen.
Well, of course, with the score of 14-13, you know, they know that they only have to go to get in position for a field goal. They don't have to direct everything into the end zone when they get down there.
And Garrow already with 2 field goals of 27 yards. Doug Williams, Isaac Higgins, and Higgins across the 35 to the 36. Terry Schmidt, Lenny Walderscheid. Higgins along with House alternating the plays. They send a lot of their plays through that wide receiver position.
This is just the 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, 1 back. It's just a quick pattern because Schmidt is playing off on that side. They just want to do something on first down to hit in front of him, and that picked up 9 yards.
Williams now 11 of 20 for 272 yards. Tony Davis in the backfield, the only set running back. Second down, a yard to go. And the first down run, Johnny Davis. Davis is the man who's been plagued all year long with an ankle problem. Osborne and Campbell. Osborne making the stop. Osborne worked for the Pullman Company one time, which I'm sure interests you, John, as you have traveled throughout the United States this year on a train.
He makes them, I sleep in them. I wonder if he'll go deep to Kevin House again. That was a big play, you know, the one he fumbled on.
First down from the 43. Williams up to Tony Davis. And Davis is hit at the 41, and there's another penalty flag. Tough Tony Davis. A man who they wanted to play a lot today so he could pick up some of those blitzes. Now, it looks like it may have gone against Tampa Bay the way Williams looks. No, wait a minute. No, it's 4.
I think it was an illegal chugger holding on the defensive back beyond the 5-yard area. That's where it was called, and it looks like there was something going on down there. Gene, are you going to tell us now, or?
Defensive pass interference.
Look the other way.
Let's look at it again.
I will see it. It was out here. It was out here on the left side. See, it was over here on this side, so we won't be able to see it.
Tony Davis, very dependable football player. He was cut earlier in the year, and then they re-signed him. And at the 41 now, first down for Tampa Bay.
It was against Gordon Jones. I mean, they did it to Gordon Jones. We just saw it right at the end of the play.
3:18 left in this game. Johnny Davis, the running back. Williams. House trying to come up with it. Kevin House, Terry Schmidt defending on it. We've mentioned how big the field goal could be as Upremian has kicked 2. You know, he doesn't use a net. We ask him why.
No, I feel that the NFL owners have a lot of expenses, and I try to cut down on expenses, and I didn't ask for a net on the sidelines. Why give the owners another added expense of $25?
I'll tell you, the conversation you two had, I'd like to have had it on tape.
I'll tell you, he's something. He was one of my favorite players. I coached him for 2 or 3 years in the Pro Bowl.
Second down 10, Tony Davis, Rick Burns, the running backs, Williams, And there's the tight end, Giles, and the ball is loose. It's picked up again by Chicago. Campbell off to Plank. Plank is hit at the 1. That will be ruled a completion to Jimmy Giles. The same result that happened to Kevin House on the other time down the field. And Tampa Bay is in disbelief.
Doug Williams is in disbelief. He's saying, what do I have to do now? This play looked like the play that Plank hit Giles on the first game, but this is Walterscheid that hits him. Watch here. He has it. He's hit by Walterscheid, not Plank, but Plank is in position. He eventually comes up with it.
Well, John, at the top of the show, we talked about the physical Bears, and they've shown it here tonight, haven't they?
I'll tell you, they are. You know, you have to complete the pass, but then once you do, you still have that one more thing you have to do. Hold on to the ball because they're going to hit you.
Well, John McKay probably saying, let's just get this season over with and look to 1981.
He's just saying it's unbelievable.
His team last year, 10-6. They went from worst to first, and now they'll try to stop them defensively. 3:03 left in the game.
If they can be in good position here.
Here's Roland Harper, and Harper out to the 7. He was almost trapped in that end zone.
I'll tell you, that was a big play to get that ball off that goal line because some bad things can happen to you down there.
Roland Harper and Doug Williams, well, I don't think you have to say anything.
You know, he's saying, what does he have to do? He's thrown 13 for 23 for 319 yards. It's his fourth 300-yard game of the season.
Boy, he's improved, hasn't he, John? He's the kind of guy that you can really build your franchise around. He had a 486-yard game against Minnesota, the fourth best ever in the National Football League earlier this year. Walter Payton on a 2nd down 5. And he's to the 10. Looks like he's just short of it, of the first down. Mark Cotney, Andy Hawkins on the stop, and there he is. He moved ahead of Joe Perry, 5th on the all-time rushing list. And you get the feeling that he's just going to keep wheeling up there, 4,000 yards away. And he started tonight almost exactly from Jim Brown. He was about 10 yards less, I believe, in comparison statistics at this stage where Brown was. First down. And as has been the story so often with this remarkable athlete, he's gotten an awful lot of that in this second half of play.
Well, Chicago doesn't have to run a play now until the 2-minute warning as we watch the clock go down here because they have 30 seconds. They'll stay in the huddle, take the 2-minute warning.
And that's exactly what has happened. And so Chicago.
No.
Oh, wait a minute. Tampa Bay's asked for the timeout and stopped it with 2:03.
You wonder why, if they were going to take timeout, you wonder why they let it run down to 2:03. Now that is okay. See, you want to have your timeouts in bunches of 3. They'll use this timeout, then they'll get the 2-minute timeout.
Well, we want to thank some people who have really been very, very helpful today. Executive producer Charles Milton III, our producer David Fox, and our director Robert Fishman. Fantastic job today, man. Rupert Kopanex, Mike Burks, our associate producer, the hard work they did on getting those tapes ready to go. And we wish them happy holidays. As this regular season tomorrow will end with some great football games. And then, of course, John, we're looking forward to a week from Sunday in that wild card game, wherever it's going to be.
Wherever it may be. And these people that were rolling up there have sure done an outstanding job, and it's been a pleasure to work with them.
Merry Christmas.
Gary and John. Hi, New Jersey. Thank you. Yeah.
I haven't gotten your Christmas present yet.
Well, anyway, I was down there, and they had these things for half price, and I wanted to know why. I said, why before Christmas is all this Tampa Bay stuff half price? And the guy just laughed. He wouldn't tell me. So I said, well, then I'll take some.
So Joey and the gang are going to get some Tampa Bay. Joey and Mike will get some Tampa Bay jerseys for Christmas. Harper on a first down, and obviously now it's a situation of what they can do with the clock as the 2-minute warning is here. The Chicago Bears 2 minutes away from moving into third place in the NFC Central. Doesn't even look real, does it?
I wonder if they'll ever play a football game up there.
He probably felt like leaving and going there after some games.
Well, we had some people who wanted to send me there.
2nd down, 9. Now, you think Tampa Bay will ask for a timeout right after this play?
Yes, they'll take a timeout after this play and a timeout after the next play because they have 2 timeouts left. Then they'll get the ball on offense with no timeout.
Earl in motion. Walter Payton. And Payton gets out of bounds, and I don't think he wanted to do that.
He didn't want to. He was stepping there not to get out of bounds. Now that really hurt the Chicago Bears because that saved Tampa Bay a timeout. Now, Walter Payton is trying to run a sweep here. He's trying to get to the outside and up the field, but he's trying to stay in bounds. He doesn't want to go out.
Look at this. Ooh.
He says, "Oop, that right foot did it, and I can't bring it in once I've put it out."
So it's 3rd down now, 6. There's the timeouts remaining. The ball at the 15-yard line. And Garo Yepremian, who doesn't warm up in the net, must be pacing back and forth, hoping he gets an opportunity.
He doesn't have to warm up because his heart's beating so fast.
Evans off to Payton. Dave Lewis with a big tackle. David Lewis with a big tackle.
Well, they better take a timeout now, and not they have. Sometimes they get so happy with themselves they start to celebrate and they forget to take the timeouts. But the Buccaneers did take the timeout, so they'll be in good position. And that was a great tackle by David Lewis because they probably figured that Payton was getting the ball. It was a draw trap type of thing. But look at this tackle by Dave Lewis.
I had the feeling that he would have really had some running room had Lewis not stopped him there. There's a look at Reese. Payton now 130 yards on 29 carries.
You know, that getting Walter Payton out of bounds may be a big play because that gives the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 1 timeout. Now, they'll get a free one here at change of possession.
A minute 47 left. 1 timeout left for Tampa Bay. Parsons. Danny Reese from the 35, the 40, 45, and they have good field position. The ball may have gotten loose as Chicago piling around it. But it's still Tampa Bay's best. Tampa Bay's football to 49, a 50-yard punt, a 14-yard return. Reese still isn't up. Again, looking ahead to tomorrow. Boy, this has been a good one today, and you're going to see some outstanding football. The NFL today in our doubleheader Sunday as we conclude this 1980 season. Be sure to check the local listings for the game in your area. Boy, what excitement we've had. And this crowd now is excitable. Minute 35 left in the game. There's Reese. He was hurt on that punt return.
Well, the way he takes them, he'll get hurt. But, you know, Doug Williams has averaged 24.5 on his completions today. Ooh, what a day.
At the 49-yard line. Down by 1. Tampa Bay. Williams. He has Gordon Jones, and that'll be a first down. Let's see where they mark it. They'll mark it just about on top of the 40, and that is a first down for Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay will go into their hurry-up offense. They would like to save that timeout for their field goal team and not use it with their offense.
You see the time remaining. Another strike. Isaac Higgins and Williams with a rocket that time. Terry Schmidt couldn't possibly have gotten there in time. And they pick up some yardage and stop the clock with 1:11. The ball marked inside the 35 to the 34. A pickup of 6 on the play.
That was somewhat. He reminded me of Joe Namath, the way he threw that ball out there. Didn't stay in the air very long, did it?
No, sir. 336 yards. And he's had a couple of situations that would discourage a lot of people. There's Garrow. There he is.
He probably wishes he had a net now. He wants to warm up.
2nd down, 5. Williams again on the far side to House. Schmidt again back there. Gary Schmidt really being tested down the stretch. 106. There's Williams. Look at him. He really shows me some leadership.
I'll tell you, he does. You know, if the things that have happened to him today, if that can't get him down, nothing will get him down.
Now he has 339 yards on the day. He's a man in his 3rd year, 25 years old. There's the 37-year-old man. He says his eyes are getting better because he's eating carrots and he can see the goalposts a little bit better.
He has all the answers for that stuff, but he would be looking right now, if they didn't make any more yardage, he would be looking at about a 50-yard field goal.
3rd down and 5. Williams, he has his man. That's Isaac Higgins. And Higgins at the 20. And now they're obviously within field goal range with 1 minute left in the game.
Right, 1 minute, and now he's looking at a 37-yard field goal. You always have 17 yards to the line of scrimmage. And look at this again. They're taking advantage of Terry Schmidt out there. Schmidt has been playing loose on that left corner all day. They've been able to hit things in front of them as they're doing right now.
At the 20-yard line, first down. 14-13, the Bears by 1. Tampa Bay as Tony Davis is the only running back. Williams looks the other way and then tries to hit Higgins. Well, you know, Garo Yepremian, when he kicks field goals, doesn't use the hash mark. Some kickers do, and you ask him that question. Why doesn't he?
I feel that I'm a pretty good kicker enough that I've got the right angle with my eyesight, and at 37 years old, my eyes are getting better. The carrots are helping, and I feel that I don't have to line up to the hash marks and so forth. Sometimes the hash marks are lined up crooked anyway.
Well, he may get a chance to line it up here. Second down 10 with 57 seconds.
He just looks at the goalpost and pumps him through. That was a good pass by Williams. If it's not open, throw it out of bounds.
Second down. Williams. Pressure put on by Osborne, and he just tossed that one away with some despair.
No, he has to do it. You know, the fans here, there's a few boos in this crowd, but they have to realize that he has the field goal. He's on the 20-yard line. That's a 37-yard field goal. He can do that. He doesn't have to worry about that. So he doesn't want to force anything at all. If it's not there, just throw it away. He's done it twice in a row.
And, of course, that applies most specifically to this play coming up. Third down 10 on the 20-yard line.
You know, with one timeout, they could run the ball.
Very interesting possibility. Gordon Jones flanked out. Isaac Higgins flanked out. Doug Williams with 51 seconds. And there is a run. Tony Davis getting it about 4 yards closer. Tom Hicks. And you called that, Coach. And now it's a fourth down, and it all rests on the shoulders of Garo Yepremian.
Well, I don't know who took the timeout here. Tampa Bay shouldn't take it because they don't want to let Chicago get the ball back with any time.
Well, they stopped it. There's Garo. You see what he has done this year. This guy in the history of the National Football League has been the most accurate kicker, hitting 67% of his kicks. He's had 2 27-yarders. He's already set a club record here for points scored in a season. He had 72 coming in. And this is what you call pressure.
This is pressure. You know what I would worry about if I were the coach now? I would remember that his last effort, that was a bad snap.
That's right.
It was a great job by Tom Blanchard, you know, a great holding job, but the snap is bad, and I would worry now about a bad snap.
This guy replaced Neil O'Donoghue. At one time, he had 20 straight field goals. That was an NFL record. He went over 1,000 points in his career, the 10th to ever do so in the history of this league. He's the 9th kicker to ever kick 200 field goals, and here he goes.
And he's been here before, and he knows what it's all about.
A 32-yard attempt. It's blocked. Chicago has blocked it. And that has been the story of Chicago all year long. It may have been Alan Page again. Page already has 5 blocks this year.
If you had to guess who it was, you would guess Alan Page. Alan Page has had that knock of blocking field goals from his early days with the Minnesota Vikings. I'll tell you, it's just those veterans, those real great players that come through when you need them. Now watch here, he's right in the middle. Look, he gets pressure. They'll get their hands up.
That is Page, I believe. Look at him, 82.
Right. It is Page.
Well, wait a minute. Could have been Harris over there, number 90. I started to say Page, if that is his, that would be his 12th block since coming over to Chicago. Let's see if we can watch what Garo's feelings were after this. There's Page. He's excited. everybody in tight on this with 40 seconds to go. So Garo Yepremian, after hitting 2 of them, had that one blocked. And it's an amazing thing how Chicago has done that this year. And Alan Page is the absolute best at that particular department.
Well, you know, the thing that has impressed me about this game, Gary, is the fact that both teams have played very, very hard. They've given it everything. And, you know, you don't always have to have a reason to win. The real great players just play all the time. And there's one who really did.
I like this guy. Doug Williams played remarkably well.
Gave it everything he had.
And so the Chicago Bears will move into 3rd place in the NFC Central Division with a 14-13 win over Tampa Bay. Walter Payton finishes the day with 126 yards. John, I enjoyed it. For John Madden, I'm Gary Bender saying so long from Tampa Stadium. The NFL on CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports.